It's potty.
Scientists discover an energetic cosmic serpent in our galaxy. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Apep was the serpent god of darkness, destruction, and chaos. In contemporary astronomy, Apep is the nickname for a massive, just-discovered star system surrounded by serpentine dust swirls and officially known as 2XMMJ 160050.7-514245. They just have a way with names. It is believed to be the only such star system of its kind in our galaxy, and it's destined for destruction. We never expected to find such a system in our own backyard. Joseph Kellingham of the Netherlands Institute for Radio Astronomy said in a statement, Kellingham is the author of the study unveiling this discovery published today, November 19th, in Nature Astronomy. Like its namesake, the mythological god of yore, Y-O-R-E, who was blamed for solar eclipses and said to battle the sun god Ra every night. I thought that was Seth. The cosmic serpent Apep is a sign of a very powerful force. Scientists believe that the star system is made up of a binary star system and a single star, which are rotating around each other, held together by electricity. The rotating stars in this system are called Wolf-Rayet stars. They are dying very slowly and will likely end their lives with a gamma ray burst, one of the most energetic, explosive forces in the universe. Long-duration gamma ray bursts. Before their end, Wolf-Rayets release powerful stellar winds that hurl out matter at millions of miles per hour. In this system, stellar winds were measured to travel at nearly 7.5 million miles, 12 million kilometers an hour. The dust created by these winds moves much more slowly, swirling like a pinwheel around the connected star system. The scientists believe one of the stars, about 8,000 light-years from Earth, is the first known candidate in the Milky Way to produce a dangerous gamma-ray burst, among one of the most energetic events in the universe. When it explodes and dies, the system, comprising a pair of scorchingly luminous stars, one star is on the brink of a massive supernova explosion. Findings published in Nature Astronomy are controversial, as no gamma-ray burst has ever been detected within our galaxy. Yet in the southern constellation of Norma, nestled beneath the Scorpion's tail, astronomers have discovered this unique star system. At its heart, wrapped in an elegantly sculpted of dust and gas, lies a powerful binary pair. The two hot, luminous stars known to astronomers as Wolf-Rayets orbit each other every 100 years or so, according to research conducted at Sydney Institute of Astronomy. This orbital dance is embossed on a fast wind streaming off the stars using spectroscopy. Astronomers have measured the velocity of the stellar winds, fast at 12 million kilometers per hour, or 1% the speed of light. The rapid wind and strong magnetic field of the pulsar have generated a wind of energetic matter and antimatter, particles that flow away from the pulsar near the speed of light. This pulsar wind has created a highly magnetized bubble of high-energy particles called a pulsar wind nebula, seen as the blue region surrounding the pulsar. The high speed may be due to the pulsar wind nebula expanding into relatively low-density environments. Unlike other supernova remnants from this era, the brightness of this pulsar wind nebula has decreased 10% from 2000, and it poses no threat to Earth. Wind Pulsar Nebula. First I've ever heard of it. And it also says that as well as its unusual structure. The rapid changes observed in KES 75 pulsar Wind Nebula, that's a new one, as well as its unusual structure, point to the need for more sophisticated models of the evolution of pulsar Wind nebulas. Enigmatic neutron star. More sophisticated models, that means more funding. It's insane. That's the serpentine swirl dubbed Apep. I remember watching a cosmology show a few years ago where they were exploring the hypothesis of a supernova striking the Earth and blowing our atmosphere completely off the planet in one fell swoop. And everyone on Earth would be, everyone would be out of air. That would be it. Get to the chopper! What does the electric universe have to say about Wolf-Rayet stars? Or Wolf-Rayet stars. And it is spherical shells around stars are signs of electrical activity. More than 70 years ago, Dr. Charles Bruce noted that planetary nebulae are similar to electric discharges. He reasoned that their shapes were hourglasses, with central stars obscured by dusty toroids. Since nebular shapes are similar to the twisted filaments and spirals of electric discharges, they also appear as near spherical shapes. A recent press release states that a bubble-like structure is wrapped around Wolf-Rayet star SH2-308, or Easy Canis Majoris, in the constellation Canis Major. As the announcement says, ongoing radiation from the star pushes the bubble out further and farther, blowing it bigger and bigger, some 60 light-years apart. Electric discharges in plasma form double layers along their current axis. Positive charges build up on one side of the cloud, negative charges on the other. A powerful electric field develops between them, and if enough charge is applied, the double layer glows. Otherwise, it remains in dark mode and is invisible. In plasma, the electric charges spiral into filaments, which attract each other, sometimes pinching into arc mode discharges. As written many times, double layers can be pumped with energy from galactic Birkeland currents. Increased flux density draws matter from surrounding space into filaments, igniting nebular gases electrically. Could this be what is reported by the European Space Agency? Unfortunately, at this point in time, the only way to detect double layers in space is to send a spacecraft equipped with a Langmuir probe through them. Local experiments within the solar system detect double layers like those created in the laboratory. Such structures are known as magnetospheres, magnetotails, cometary nuclei, and comet tails. In 1981, Nobel laureate Hans L. Fane wrote, "It is unpleasant to base far-fetched conclusions on the existence of a structure which we cannot detect directly. But the alternative is to draw far-reaching conclusions from the assumption that in distant regions the plasmas have properties which are drastically different from what they are in our own neighborhood. This is obviously far more unpleasant. Filaments, braids, overlapping rings, stacked rings around the central star. Hourglass shapes and coherent tubes of filaments are visible around SH2-308, and I'd probably say around Apep too. In an electric universe, it is not hot gas that flows through space. It is plasma. The physics of electricity apply, not the physics of wind. Inside the shells of planetary nebulae are more and more plasma sheaths that act like capacitors. alternately storing and releasing electric energy. Electric currents ebbs and flows inside and outside sheaths within the shells. The Hubble Space Telescope's image reveals many of plasma's fundamental glow mode characteristics. Since the central star's axis is a Z-pinch funnel, the cylinder of electric current appears to be a circle or bubble. Nebulae are stellar Z-pinches in a flow of electricity, so there is enough power to supply the radiation load of current of the central star. Stars, as written many times elsewhere, are powered by electricity coupled with nebular discharge currents rather than nuclear fusion. Since nebular currents cannot exist beyond their optical glows, they must be part of completed circuits that wind through the Milky Way. Stephen Smith. Pretty much would say that that's the answer of what they're seeing around Apep, electric current, ionized electric plasma. The important point to take away here is that there is no dust and gas blowing around in space where there's a wind. They don't even support there being a wind, seeing as how they say it's a vacuum, so they contradict themselves. Everything you see in space is electrified plasma. End of story. And they just tap dance around that at all costs. That article leads into another one here. Capacitance, resistance, and induction power of the sun. See what it has to say. What are stars? And by extension, what is the sun? Consensus opinions state that the sun is composed of elements formed in the Big Bang. Other elements created in dying stars, and elements formed in supernovae explosions. Primordial hydrogen and helium make up 98% of its overall mass, with a process of continuous creation in its core. Thermonuclear fusion reactions are thought to produce heavier elements there. Heliophysicists think that the sun is a gravity engine, deriving all of its power from mechanical compression. It is called thermonuclear fusion because dust clouds collapse. Energies thought to occur when gas and dust clouds collapse, forcing hydrogen atoms together in a gravitational vice. The result is supposed to be the formation of helium atoms and the release of energetic particles that can take 1 million years to travel outward from the solar core. Acoustical waveguides then carry hot gas from inside the sun on a conveyor system that depends on convection and shock waves. The fact that kinetic energy dominates astronomical theories is illustrated by a recent press release from the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan. The Hinode spacecraft, in orbit around the sun, observed the strongest magnetic field ever directly measured on the surface of the sun. However, the bias toward mechanical action is obvious when they announce that the field is due to gas outflow from one sunspot pushing against another sunspot. Wait a minute, did it just say the Japanese are in a spacecraft? Oh, they have a probe. What are they doing? Buzzing around the solar system, big red ball on the side. Yeah, same old. They're not allowed to think. They've got to know better. I mean, a lot of them probably, but they just play the game, but they don't get paid. Consensus schools of thought do not accept electric universe theory, viewing the sun as an anode, or positively charged terminal with an electric double layer isolating it from charged particles traveling through the galaxy. Suggests that the sun experiences charge-discharge phenomena inside its heliosphere. Therefore, it is the sun's capacitive, resistive, and inductive aspects that drive its activity. Yes, indeed. Did you know that when you get an X-ray, that Inside that X-ray machine is nothing more than an anode and a cathode that's electrically driven, just like nuclear explosions. They short out the electrostatic field of the Earth. An electric sun means that electric discharges penetrate its photosphere, allowing electric charge to flow into its depths. It is electromagnetic flux tubes, rather than acoustical waveguides, that expose the sun's cooler interior. Those flux tubes connect the sun's electromagnetic environment with other nearby charged bodies, planets, moons, comets, etc. Electric fields in space accelerate charged solar particles, creating coherent electric networks that flow through the solar system. In an electric universe, celestial bodies are immersed in plasma and interact along circuits. Since the sun is electrically interconnected with the Milky Way, it should be thought of as a charged object seeking equilibrium with its environment. Since the balance is not stable, electric charge flowing into and out of the sun can sometimes cause tremendous bursts of energy called solar flares. A positive space charge sheath exists with respect to the interstellar medium, ISM, so sunspots and flares result from variations in electrical conditions. The sun appears to experience cyclic influences that point to an association with a fluctuating galactic circuit. The extent of that circuit is unknown, but probably involves thousands of cubic light years. The electricity moving through transmission lines is also not known. But consensus astronomers are constantly amazed by the power output from solar flares. Solar flares are most likely cosmic lightning bursts discharging vast quantities of matter at near relativistic speeds out into space. As mentioned, the circuit connecting the sun with the Milky Way probably extends for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of light years, giving some indication that the electrical energy feeding the solar anode must be substantial. The electric universe advocate Wal Thornhill wrote, "While enormous time and resources have been poured into the effort to understand stars based on a single outdated idea, those familiar with plasma discharge phenomena have been paying close attention to the observed phenomena on the sun and finding simple electrical explanation. After 100 years of neglect, an electrical model of stars is just beginning to emerge." Stephen Smith, with a hat tip to William Thompson.